Welcome again, everyone, to Jerry's Old Guy Review and an episode of Antiques on Parade. Or, I don't want any copyright issues, so I won't use the actual name, but there's a road show about old stuff. But this is going to be the greatest long-term review on YouTube. This vehicle is 16 years old. It is the granddaddy of every crawler out there right now. Axial SCX10 OG. Sorry, that might have been loud. With even the original owner's book, because I was double checking things. And I'm going to tell you, this is what started it all. This is what got me into actual crawlers. Let me give you some history. This truck came out in 2008. Prior to 2008, I had Tamayas that had lock differentials, lock transmissions. You know, trying some of this new crawler stuff. Everybody basically that was around when this truck came out no longer exists. Not they were bought out or sued by Traxxas, as some people say. They made a certain kind of vehicle and tried to do this without a lot of R&D or revamping the trucks they had. And, you know, I'd have to get my RC Crawler Action or RC Car Action magazines out because I've got a lot. And I've actually got, I didn't go out in the shed because it's pouring rain today. I've actually got boxes full of them, and I've got the review on this truck. When this truck came out, my local hobby shop bought up all kinds of spare parts. I have literally just slowly, you guys have heard in videos, you know, upgrades I've done to this truck. But I'll tell you that it was my bench standard for a lot of the newer crawlers as they came along. But unfortunately, because I was a slacker and didn't upgrade this as the new trucks came along, it sadly got left in the dust. And actually, I'm looking around for some other stuff. What did I have? So I had a Clodbuster converted to the Clodzilla chassis. I think I got up to 4. And I locked the axles on that. And we basically had Stampedes, Tamayas again. Nothing like this existed. And as you'll see, this is an Airtronics 3-channel receiver, which is funny. This one must have been locked. Yep. So this one did not have a removable chip. So for all my Traxxas vehicles, I used to have a whole drawer full of crystals. So that's how we used to change these with frequencies. Because if we all bought the same truck and nobody paid attention to their crystals, we couldn't drive together. So that's an original AM radio. Actually, this is an FM. That's why it doesn't have a chip. Let's see. We had, I don't even know what unnamed servo was in here. That servo's gone. I had a Tamiya, the TEU 101BK, which I'm going to have to research that, but I know that didn't have drag brake on it. I had a winch that I just didn't really use. Took that off. So basically, I started without you. I have, somebody let me know what these new weighted things are that come on motors now. So I took the motor that came out of the SCX10 3, trying to keep a little, 3, taking the motor out of the 3, putting it in the OG. Thought that was cute. Put that in. It's got new waterproof, LiPo capable receiver in there, RC 4-wheel drive, RC 4-wheel drive. What is that? That's a 3-channel? 4-channel rate. That's a receiver, but the radio is only 3 channels. XT60 plug on here. Prior to that, I had upgraded the shocks. So it's got SCX10 shocks on it. Because, like I said in one of my earlier videos, its current version was the honcho, because it was the OG truck, because this was a kit, and it was a dingo, and then now it's the honcho just because it's Toyota body. I like it. But I took the radiator out of the Evo and put it in here. I remounted, these lights were mounted up here. I remounted them down here because it doesn't have any lights on the body. So I've got headlights and tail lights. But just to prove a point about wheels and tires. So these are my cut FMS wheels. I already put them on the front because, let's see. Let me get the measuring tool out. Let's see what these are. These hexes are, whoa. Okay, let's go to here. Basically 8mm hexes. So we're going to add 16mm in width on top of the tires, because these tires, the wheels and tires, are also off of an SCX10 2, the Blazer. But the joy of Axial in general was the fact that they always had the extended wheel, or dang it, hexes, or god dang it, I'm having a brain fart. They always had these extended wheel axles. So we can put this on. We just can't use the fancy dancy, what are those? The hub covers. I mean, they're nice too. I'd really like to use them. And when I first was trying this, I was going to use them, but then I found those hexes. And I said, you know what? We're going to give this truck every advantage to compete with the big guys. We're giving new electronics. We're putting bigger tires on it, so it's going to have a little more ground clearance. Man, and prior to making this video, I went through my Axial stuff just for the OG, because I actually have a 6-wheeler that I built. So for this truck, I have extra axles. 3. I think I've got 3 if I don't count the ones that are on that 6-wheeler, because I was really into that. I wanted to make more. And then just alone, it wasn't even 9 inches before in width. And now we're looking at 9 3/8. So that's going to give it some good side hilling stability. What else? Wait a minute. Boy, I'm a dumbass, aren't I? Got so carried away, I didn't even put the new hex on this one. Wow. But some of the weirdness with this truck in particular was, there we go. You had this electronics box, and you just think about 2008, the electronics that were available then were big. I mean, we're talking AM, FM radios, big. I mean, that's just the receiver. The electronic speed controls in '08 were twice this size. So trying to fit your electronics in that. Now I'm gonna have to remeasure since I gave you wrong dimensions. That little radio box just wasn't big enough. So what I did, which is pretty funny, because if you get a battery charger, 9.5. You get a battery charger, the kind that you can mount under your hoods. You get an L-shaped bracket with it to mount it. And that's basically what I did. This has got a bolted on L-shaped bracket that conveniently, once cut the right way, sits on top of the transmission. So that's got a complete battery tray that I just made with a piece of metal. But other than that, on here is nothing. Let me see, looking around. Nothing else is fabricated. Even this kit in '08 came with all metal links. Even though these were all green originally, and I really tore the green ones up over the years, so all I did was replace it when I got my six-wheeler project. I just replaced it with these gray ones, which they're also all tore up now. These are the second set of axles. The first ones got wore down so much here, I was worried that at any minute they were going to rip open. So these are the second set of axles, which are still pretty beat up. But, which I always talk about, my 3M undercoat. So these running boards, rock sliders, these were 3M rubberized undercoated years ago. They have been worn so smooth where it didn't rip it off that these things slides nice. So, new tires. Shocks had already been upgraded a few years ago. I'm looking around. I got the lights on it just because I didn't have any lights for the body, because back when this truck came out, that wasn't even a thing. LEDs were barely a whisper. You were getting, it used to be called Ram RC. I think it was. That's Ram RC had basically halogen style lights. And I'm sorry, I looked out the door. What are you doing, crazy bits? And my oldest girl is acting like she is a year old. So now, this, I'm going to run with the other big dogs now. It basically has what you need. So, I'm going to tell you, with 16 years on this truck, the drive shafts are still perfect. It has never seen anything more than lipo power or nickel metal power. So it actually might have started out with NiCad power. But now I'm going to start it with 2S. And we're going to see how it runs. And we're going to see if this 16-year-old technology, because, you know, other than the design of the axles, guess what we're getting back to now? This truck came with servo on axle. Guess what a lot of the trucks now are going back to? So this technology now isn't as old as it was before. Frame rails. I mean, this is the setup that all crawlers go with now. I look at, so I put a digital, let me see, what's this brand? LHS Electronics. So this is a high torque servo. And actually, what did I do with everything? I had everything here for testing, and once I invite you along, I'm screwing everything up. So this is just the cheap little 2S, just for some shits and giggles. And you're going to notice what a great job I did. Red, red, black, black, red, black. I put my heat shrink on wrong. Jeez. So now, I don't know what brand this thing is, but that looks like a pretty peppy one to me. Does this have dual rate on this radio? Oh, it's got that that thingamahickey. Let's see. Nope. Oh. Oh, there we go. Oh, EPA. So that's that right. And that's okay. It's one of these double ones now. But you know what? For this old guy, it's not as fast as some of those newer ones, but hey, once again, I'm doing all of these upgrades with bin collections. That's what we'll start calling some of these upgrades we're doing. We're going to call them upgrades from the bin. So that'll be this one, copyright 2024 Inc. Jerry Oldguyreview. Upgrades from the bin. And that's what chaps my ass was. It was supposed to be nice. I got this in my head Friday night. Was talking to one of the guys at work. Because, you know, he's a big car guy. And I think he's too serious sometimes. So I told him that I'm going to do one of these. I'm going to make him a truck from bits so we can get him out and about. I think he would really enjoy this. Oh, let's turn that off. Let's turn that off. And you know, this might be a good thing to let him try. Because just like I preach all the time on the channel, if you don't do RC, you don't know. Well, I can't say that. You listen to too many people that tell you on the YouTube that you have to have this and you have to have that. This is a 16-year-old truck. This is the grandfather of all current trucks. Since I only now, well, I do. I have two of these. One's a six-wheeler. One's him. I have twice as many of the twos floating around because, as I've always said, I love the two, which is not a whole lot different than this, but it's different where it counts. The transmission's different. Now it's an enclosed transmission. These were open transmissions. If you had a one, I won't even call it the one. If you have an SCX10 and you also have an RC four-wheel drive Trailfinder 2, look at them. Except for the difference in axles and suspension, I honestly think that the designers for RC four-wheel drive used an SCX10 as the template for their new vehicle because they are just too similar to not have been on the drawing board together. I mean, cripe. this open transmission design, RC four-wheel drive's still doing it. So if you have an RC four-wheel drive, look at that sucker. Let me just, well, you know what? Let's clean this baby up a bit. This is always the game. And this, because of these weird friggin' loops, I don't even understand what those are about. I think I could probably do them on here. I've now run out of black zip ties. I'm using colored ones. But we'll be boring under here because nobody will see them. So these will just be some boring white ones. Not the wire concealing black ones. Okay. And I don't know what those weighted things are. I want to know, maybe I should put them on different sides to balance them out. I don't know if that's a thing or not, but what do we got? We got that guy. We got that guy. He's sitting on the, crap, I should have known. Guess what? That's why we use the expendable cheap zip ties. Because of things that are open and transmissions and drive shafts, we just have to be a little, oh, that's what I'll do. Get out of here, you faux antenna. That's what we're going to do. We're going to run, we'll run the one over here. That'll keep that wire off the drive shaft. And put the weight of that thing, I don't know. Put that weight of that thing over here. Put one over there. And then put one over here. And then when I use the white zip ties, it just helps me see them a little better, identify them. In case I have an issue I have to track down. Okay, you, get over here. And then I'm basically just using the battery tray. There's little edges on them. I don't know, I might be ruining this whole thing by, I might have slid this too far. I can't tell from my view, so. We'll just have to test that. Let's see. My back's still hurting, even on my cushy chair. So, okay, that's got that radiator sits up there. Huh. Oh, that seems good. Okay, that'll sit in there. That's your biggest thing for me with working on some of this stuff. You have to constantly check, because if you don't, you could more than likely wrap this whole sucker up and you're so happy and you sit back and suddenly you're like, whoa, wait, what is that doing there? I can't run the truck now because you got so carried away. And I'll tell you, that is all about my own personal experience, not anyone else's, that lets me know that you can get carried away in the moment. And getting carried away in the moment a lot of times means that you're going to be taking it apart and doing it all over again. And the worst time to figure that out is if you get some of those fancy wire wraps and you just sat down and wrapped, spending 30 minutes wrapping wires perfectly. And then you sit back and you didn't plug something in. Or you ran it the wrong way. It looked right when you had it, say, upside down or sideways. Hell. See, and this isn't, it's not going to be super perfect, but the truck, if it's clean and you can get to everything, you can look. You can physically look and see if something's afoot. And like this is just going to be a huge gaggle. But best investment you can make, the multicolored teeny tiny zip ties. Oh, and it's just trying to get when they're all different lengths. Okay, so the red, and then the black and red. And then we're going to flip over to the black and red again. And then we're going to get that steering wire in. And get that all zipped together so then we can see. Just make sure there's no... What is going on here? Oh, there we go. Just make sure there's nobody in that mix. Because the worst thing you're going to find is with a poor battery wrap or wire wrap, you're going to be out running it. You're going to be having a hell of a day. The thing's going to die. You're going to think your transmission blew up because your truck is now immobile. And it's only because one of your wraps fell down, got wrapped up in your drive shaft, ripped out of whatever it was supposed to be mounted to. And now you're just screwed. So let's see. This is so we'll know. Yeah, I am not the beautiful rapper. I will tell you that right now. I will make no lies to you guys. This will keep it from going anywhere. And that's the thing about some of these kits nowadays. You just have more room to work. This is a shorty wheelbase. But of course, this was not a shorty in its day. This was common. All right. Not beautiful, but now nice and compact. And brake clean down now. Nice and boing, boing, boing. So these trucks, when they came out, used to have the battery in the back. And this was a huge thing right here, was relocate the battery to the front for better weight distribution. Okay. See, as time goes on, there's lots of options now. Oh, where am I going? The body's right here. There's lots of options now for where to put a battery. My thing with the honcho body was there was absolutely no weight up front. But what I did was I put a spare tire in it. I don't know if I'm missing that camera or not. I put the spare tire in it, and I've got a metal plate in here that I put a battery on it. Just being a dork. It's got wires running in there, fake battery terminals. But this way, we're going to weigh this baby too. This way, it's even. And now these SCX10 2 shocks are dual stage. So now, with a battery in it, does that not look sweet? Does that not look tough? What a difference wheels and tires can make. It just looks tougher. Let's see. Nothing's rubbing up there. I'm sure the tires, the fronts they're gonna rub. I cut that out a little more, but I think I'm gonna have to cut the door, which is weird because doors aren't usually cut, but Let's see, front ways, a little bit of rub. Yeah, to trim the fender. So that means this is, oh yeah, rub central. Okay, so we'll have to fix those before we run it, but oh, let's see. And with the shocks cranked all the way down, oh, fallen in love all over again. So let's get our handy dandy scale out. Boop, boop, boop. And 0. So 9.5 width. Yeah. 5 pounds, 12.4 ounces. That's not bad. Kind of standard with most of the trucks, even though this is small. This is going to be, I believe, the shortest in the fleet. Oh. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure all those Vanquish ones, RC four-wheel drives are actually, well, I think the RC four-wheel drives are exactly the same length. I think they're 11.3 in the regular Trail Finder. And then there's a short wheelbase 9.5, I think. And then, what is it, 314 millimeters compared to the normal 13. Weird. But here it is, people. You don't, I'm sure on marketplaces or something, you can find people that have an SCX running around. SCXs are still supported in the aftermarket world. You can still get the axles. Hell, there's a lot of parts you look for when you look at SCX10 those parts come up as 2s, which actually will work on the 2 and the 3. It's just the axle part. But you can still get the aftermarket axles. So, this truck, still around, still relevant, and if you can snatch one up, I completely recommend it. And now, well, God only knows, for the last end of the month, I have to do grown-up stuff. I have to go on a trip for a week. So I'm going to be being a grown-up, and that sucks. So I'm losing a week of being out, but maybe I could load this up and take it with me. So let me know if this is the greatest long-term review ever. This truck has only ever been upgraded. This truck has never been mended. So that is my opinion. So let me know in the comments. Do you still have an SCX10? Do you still enjoy it? If not, hopefully I can enjoy it for you. And I will talk to you on the next one.